Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim or Cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So, Black people are trying to remind everybody about Sonya Massey because it looks like the story is already like dying off. You all already know that it's always like one story to another, right? And I think, I mean, with everything happening, especially in Black community, sometimes it looks like I don't know if to say that. Black people are also mounting pressure, to them because one minute we are all over screaming over what happened, the other minute everybody like go back to their normal self and usual self. I'm not saying people shouldn't like continue their life, but I think there is need for justice, And now it looks like the story also is about to take another turn. I mean, and also that the man that did what he did might end up getting a lesser judgment than what he is supposed to get. And I am hoping that that man is like not getting any parole or something because the man does not deserve to be living among human beings. And also, Black people content creators are calling them TikTokers that made money during the period what happened to Sonya Massey to make sure that they donate some money to the family because they need money at this point in time. And I want you all to know that with everything, with the camera that everybody saw and all that, they are still denying some certain things about Sonia Massey's death. We really have to be very careful as people. Let's get into this.
I really need y'all to listen to this because this man, the killer of Sonya Macy, is going to end up getting less time if we do not focus and put pressure on this like we did with George Floyd's killer, Derek Chauvin. I talked about this a couple of years ago, but this is Jason Van Dyke. He was a Chicago police officer who murdered this little 17-year-old boy in cold blood. Laquan was having some type of mental episode, which I'm very familiar with because of my mental health. He was walking down the street, he had a knife, he was not doing anything violent. Other cops had responded to the situation. No shooting had occurred. They were asking him to drop the knife, which he didn't because obviously he's not in his right mindset. This man and a group of other officers pulled up, and within a couple of seconds, Jason Van Dyke opened fire on Laquan McDonald. In total, they said he shot 16 bullets. He continued to shoot Laquan as Laquan is on the ground. He continued to shoot for 10 seconds. That is a long time when we're talking about shooting. He only ended up getting less than 7 years. He got a total sentence of not even 7 years. He was released 2 years ago with 3 years in time served. He killed this little 17-year-old Black child. The cop, Jason Van Dyke, said he feared for his life because he thought Laquan was going to run up on him with a knife. Body cam footage shows that Laquan was walking away. And keep in mind, the cop almost immediately started shooting as soon as he got on the scene. The courts then decided that less than 7 years was good enough for this murder of this 17-year-old little Black boy child. Because even though he was walking away from them with the knife, even though the cop started shooting within seconds of coming onto the scene, that maybe he could have felt that his life was in danger because Laquan didn't drop the knife. And they justified that by saying that Laquan still held onto the knife even while he was crumpled on the ground and as Jason Van Dyke continued to shoot his lifeless body for 10 seconds. That's what happens when we stop paying attention. See, right now, this officer, Sean Grayson, who murdered Sonya Macy in her fucking home by shooting her in the face, because our eyes are on it, even though they're drifting now, the judge did not grant him a pretrial release. You know how I know it's because our eyes are on it? Because the chief of police or whatever over this precinct has actually decided to step down because he said, and this is basically a quote, the political climate will not allow me to do my job. If we weren't paying attention to it, he would have never stepped down. And I know it even further because this is a cop who has colon cancer with the colostomy bag. The attorney's argument was he needs to be released so he can have proper care for his cancer. This is a white man and a cop. If we weren't paying attention to it, he would have been released. The fact that most of y'all don't know that, who were talking all about it and posting all these fucking videos over and over and over again of Sonya Macy being shot in the face, don't know any of this information. I hate performatism. I hate it. If we don't watch this trial, if we don't put pressure on this, they're going to empathize with him in court. Oh, he's got cancer. And he's not going to get the life sentence he deserves. And there's some similarities between Jason Van Dyke, the officer who murdered Laquan McDonald, and Sean Grayson. You want to know what it is? Van Dyke had a history of doing shit too. It says several black motorists testified that he used a racial slur and excessive force during traffic stops in the year before the 2014 shooting. In 2005, Van Dyke used a racial slur and put a gun to the head of a man during a traffic stop while using racial slurs. 2007, during a traffic stop, another person said that the officer cursed and slammed him on the car's hood, grabbed him by the arms, and pulled him into the squad car. And you know what Van Dyke's wife and his daughter had to say? Oh, we're being bullied at school. Somebody put 16 on my desk, 16 referring to the 16 shots that he shot at Laquan McDonald as he murdered him. That's the daddy fault. What happens to the father happens to the children. I hope those white kids are being bullied. Wife, I can't get a job. My daughter can't get into a dance group. We're talking about the death of a child. But because they're black, they don't view it that way. Your husband deserves to be dead. This is what was read on behalf of Laquan. I'm a 17-year-old boy, and I am a victim of murder. I am unable to speak in my own voice because an officer thought he would become judge, jury, and executioner. Why should this person who ended my life forever, who has never asked for forgiveness, be free when I am dead forever? But your children are being bullied? But you can't get your daughter into dance class? And all this, he was barely given 7 years and released in 3. 2 years ago. His daughter blamed the media for shaming police officers for doing their job of killing innocent 17-year-old black boys, apparently. See it run in the family because this bitch could be a doctor, she could be an attorney, she could be a judge, she could be any of those things, making life decisions over the black people she don't give a fuck about. Death to that bitch too. I say all that to say that we can focus on petty TikTok drama or fucking celebrity news more than this and then cry out saying, why are we dying? Why are we dying? Why are we dying? Because we fucking don't give a shit for real. Honestly, I think black people say Black Lives Matter. But in reality, we have been taught that our lives really don't matter, so we're desensitized to it. Grayson, the murderer of Sonya Macy, has another chance to appeal now. The first hearing is scheduled for the end of the month, and I can't find a date. The similarities between Van Dyke, who murdered Laquan, and this man who murdered Sonya is that he had a long record too. And y'all may have known that, but did you know the details? He was discharged from the Army for DUIs, multiple DUIs. He hit a car on one, and that's when they discharged him. And they still didn't give him dishonorable discharge. He worked for 6 different law enforcement agencies in the past 4 years. He went on a police chase 101 miles per hour. In those DUIs, he had an unregistered gun in his car. He still got 6 different badges. In 2002, Chelsea Lowe reported, before all this happened, that Grayson popped in on her while she was undressed during a drug search at the hospital. He resigned before the complaint was investigated. Not to mention, his possible white supremacist tattoos under the guise of Viking tattoo. What is up with you white people, you white men and Vikings? You would have never made it. Look at you. You couldn't pillage. You look like the pillaged. Sonya Macy will never receive justice under this system. No black person will ever receive justice under this system. Because the only justice is death to that motherfucker. Or I take, cutting off his arms and his legs and his dang-a-lang and his tongue so he can never talk and he can just lead a miserable existence. There's a Stop Asian Hate bill passed. But there's a George Floyd Justing and Policing Act, which simply says that all of these things, these charges will be in a database so that they can be reviewed before hiring a cop, which is insane to me because when they sit back and they run my ID and my history, when they pull me over, they bring up charges from when I was a juvenile that are expunged and that they're not supposed to talk about at all. They can run my whole history. When he applied at Logan Sheriff's Office, an employment record from Auburn, south of Springfield, where he had worked previously, showed that while Grayson was always early for work, eager for training, of course he loves killing people, receptive to criticism and had not faced disciplinary action, he struggled with report writing, was not great with evidence, left items laying around office, and was a bragger. And they said, yep, we want to hire somebody who lies. And what was he bragging about? Probably police brutality that he had done. 0 out of 10 black people. We got to do better. Well, hello there. You know what the worst type of black person is to me? It's the black person that says, I'm not my ancestors. I could have never been a slave. They would have had to kill me. I'm a Harriet Tubman bitch. I'm that Malcolm X nigga. I feel like if I drove to a wealthy white neighborhood and went into the Publix, that I would find those of you who comment those things in one of those gray aprons that says Whole Foods on the front. Walking behind a perfectly able-bodied white man carrying his groceries that you picked out under his supervision to load them into his vehicle. Because they're not just there for grocery shopping. They're there to get the authentic feeling of the 40s. It's a form of entertainment for them. After you finish this free labor for this white man because he didn't tip you, you walk back into the store where you make $10 an hour and proceed to get yelled at by your white bosses that it took you 2 minutes too long to take that white man's groceries out. It took you 3 minutes. And after you've worked your 10-hour shift and made your $100 before taxes, you sit at home, tired, worn out, calling your friends, complaining about your bosses and how bad the white people treat you. Take your shower, you lay in your bed, you pull out your phone and go to whatever social media app you prefer. And you let them know that you're not your ancestors. You could have never been a slave. They would have had to kill you. You're that Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X type. Then you get up the next day and go do the same thing 6 days a week, working yourself to the bone. And when you get sick, you have to just hotty-toddy that shit because you don't have health insurance. Because a hotty-toddy is all you can afford with the money that the white man gave you. And on that one day a week that you get off, you can't go anywhere. Your clothes are old, they're in tatters. Thank God that you don't wear those clothes at work because the white man provides you with attire. That same public shirt and apron that thousands of white people have probably worn before you. Hand-me-down white people clothes, if you will. At one time, on the only break that you get during the day at work, your 15-minute lunch break, you rush and call your friend, hey friend, guess what just happened? My white woman boss just screamed at me, called me the N-word, and said I'm just as lazy as they say about my people. And after you explain to your friend how you're not gonna take no shit like that, you on your Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman type shit, you notice that it's 1 minute before it's time for you to get back in there. So you hang up the phone without even saying bye and run back into the building, where you don't say a damn thing. Not only could you be a slave? You are one. 10 out of fucking.
So this is all I got from this video. And sincerely speaking, we already saw what happened to Sonya Massey. And one thing I'm going to say is that if care is not taken, I mean, what happened to other stories is absolutely going to repeat itself on Sonya Massey's death, you know. And the way I am saying it, this is actually, I don't know, but I feel like the man that unalived her might actually end up just getting less sentence or something, because they have really been working so hard to make sure that our voices are not heard. And each day that passes by, we see them come out with a different story or different thing to make people feel like, you know, that there is need to have mercy on him and all that. Sincerely speaking, there is no need to have mercy on him. Let the law take its due course. And that it's a period, right? I saw a video where the man's mother-in-law or something was saying that Black people are being too emotional. Like they are taking everything so, like they are taking everything to heart. That, I mean, they should temper justice with mercy. Why? Because that Black people do not know what her own family is going through now. And I think that is very insensitive for somebody to say. I mean, Sonya Massey has children. She has her children, and her children are missing her. I mean, like, you know what it means to have children, and all of a sudden, the people that you invited to your home and told them not to harm you, they are also the same people that harmed you. Not just harming you, refuse to give you first aid, and watch this stood there, watch the woman bled to death, right? And the same person that did that has also, I mean, there have been multiple cases where he, like, you know what, yeah, screaming racial slurs of Black people and all that. And the truth is that they are going to see all this and will not caution them, right? Because I am very sure that they'll have colleagues that they work with. They don't work alone, most especially. So their colleagues knew how dangerous they are, but refused to report them or talk about it. Now, someone that looked like me is the one that suffered it, that it's like, you know, suffered it and then ended up like, you know, not being alive anymore. And you can imagine what would have happened if the body cam did not capture almost everything that happened. That would have been a different case altogether. I mean, it would have been from one lie to another, because even with the body cam that came out, they've also been lying for, like, you know, every minute they are lying, trying to change everything, like, you know, trying to change everything or trying to make us feel like we did not watch the video. And their own people are not helping matters, because I see most of them analyzing what happened. Very insensitive set of human beings. And sincerely speaking, there should not be any mercy. I mean, whatever he should not even be released on parole or anything, because he does not deserve to be walking among the living, because that is not where he belongs. He belongs straight up in the jail, and let him go there and smell the rod, right? And I know it's really been an overwhelming month, like since last month to this very moment. It's really been a whole lot going on, Black people. I mean, like, you know, I am sure most of you are not getting break, because it's been from one story to another, one story to another. I mean, now everybody's focusing on the coming election, which I know that it's very, like one of the most important events to happen soonest, right? But I am also going to say that we should not forget Sonya Massey. Also, we should not forget the family. And there are some people also that are doing something, like the people that were able, or the people that made money during the period that, I mean, that she was unalive. I mean, they are donating the money back to the family. So if you ended up making a lot of money, if you made money from that, especially on TikTok, I mean, they are also called, I mean, like, not really like it's a must, but content creators are also reaching out to one another so they can donate the money to the family, because you all know that the family needs that money. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.